those who wear the crown know better, right? So we want to know, ma'am, what are we meant to expect? Is the dreams and all of those things that you had, let me start from there, before you got into office, the dreams you had, the expectations you had when it was announced that you were going to be wearing this crown, is it matching the expectations now that you're leading and in that position?
Thank you very much, and good evening, everybody. To answer your question straight, when I got announced to the position that I've been in the last 7 years, I had things I dreamt to do in the public service, and basically to impact the public service for good. I was probably tired of hearing that civil servants are evil servants. They help everything bad. They teach the politicians the wrong things. And I was determined to make sure that the narrative changed. It didn't matter who is going to be affected. I was going to play by the rules and ensure that gradually someday somebody will be able to say the civil servants are not the people we thought they are. So that was my dream, and that's still my dream. And of course, I'm pursuing it. But as a leader, how do you transpose this and get the other members of your team to come on board? It has to be a vision that you have to clearly define, convince your leaders, your team members to buy into it, and champion that transformation that you're looking for. And I must tell you that it's not an easy thing, because you are probably 1 in a million trying to change 999,000 people. And all they are waiting for is for you to get exhausted and then you join them. So for you to remain there, still focus, pursuing your dream, and getting 10 more people to join you is a lot of hard work. But if you're determined, you don't just speak it, you demonstrate it, you put the energy, the 10 will join. And with 10 and you 11, you will get more people on board. But you've got to be focused and quite determined and clearly defining goals and assigning people to do it within a time frame. Once you are able to do that, they begin to see that there is a different dimension to the leadership we have. And with that difference and the results they are seeing, people will get attracted and start asking questions. That's my experience.
Amazing. Here's a round of applause for her. They said, he that wears the crown will better tell. So we want to hear from you. Reality and leadership. What your expectations were before you took on your position right now, and what you are experiencing while leading. Do they match? Are they different? How has the journey been?
You're talking about a crown. This is a person wearing a crown. I'm just seated in one corner in NMDC. Mine is not necessarily a crown, but I take it that talking about leadership generally, it may be in different contexts, but in my own case, should I say it didn't come as a surprise? Not quite a surprise, because it's the same organization.
Okay.
So I just transited from a role into another at a higher level.
Okay.
So expectations, I was sharing with Sola that, we're going through a period of transformation. And it's been quite interesting. It's been a journey, we have a new set of leadership at the top, and there's this transformation drive. And so naturally, people will say we had tried one or two transformation efforts before. So how far have we gone with that? But now the difference is that we're having some people at the top walking the talk. So that makes a lot of difference when you want to, bring forward a transformation journey. You're not just saying, let's move. You are saying, let's move, and I'm moving ahead. You cannot drive a change. You cannot just say, I'm a leader. How do you show that you're a leader if you're not leading the way? So people have to see you and be able to know that, there's a new sheriff in town. Things are no longer the same. And like she said, for the public service, people will say, people have a bias about public service. So when you come in and you're not like that, you have a lot of work to do. So it's the same thing. People feel like somebody was talking to me recently and was referring to NMPC as a government infrastructure. I said we're no longer government. But it's difficult for people to understand what we're saying. But where we are now, the journey we are now, you will see clearly there's leadership. And getting into this role, for me, it's an opportunity, to demonstrate your ability to lead. And when you say lead, you are not just saying that I'm leading as a boss. You are leading by what difference you are making, by what impact you are bringing. For example, we have always been a training organization. We're moving into a journey of becoming a learning organization. That is a big leap. So it's no longer I have to go on a training once in 2 years. It's no longer that way. It is now part of what my journey is. My job entails some form of learning, and I'm learning on my job. And then the NMPC Academy is championing that. So that's amazing.
A round of applause for her. What I hear is we need to lead the change.
Yeah.
And it's easy to announce that there is this big change we want to make. But are we able to lead the change? Are we able to first be the change that we want others to emulate from? If the people we work with emulate us, would that change ever be possible? I think we need to see the need to really embody the change we want to see. That's amazing. Okay, so my next question will be, have you been in leadership meetings where a lot was said, but you knew nothing would change?
Yeah.
Right. What creates that gap between discussions and executions?
If any of you here has ever worked in any of the ministries, meetings are routine, right? So there are a lot of activities, you're having meetings, reports are coming in, okay? I call all that activities. And so severally you'll be in meeting rooms, you have discussed a lot of things, you have probably agreed you're going to do a lot of things, the reports are going to come to you, and then as the boss have read the report, noted, implements, right? And we all sit back. In another 3 months, we are visiting the same thing.
Wow.
That's a recurrent thing in a public sector. That's a recurrent thing. But the difference is realizing that there is a difference between activities, which is what I've just talked about, and having impactful meetings. So I always say to my team, if I sit at a meeting or a training, and at the end of it, I'm asking myself, what just happened? Did I just waste 30 minutes, 2 hours of my time? Then I will never sit in that meeting. So we have to match impacts and move it away from activities. We've had this meeting, we've taken decisions. Who is going to do this? Till we begin to define and assign roles to people with timeline and consequences for not achieving those things when we keep having those meetings. So in leadership, you really need to maximize the use of your time for impactful purposes. So This is not so common, but the minute you begin to lead in that line, people begin to understand that don't sit this woman down in a meeting because she's going to be asking you in 2 days, in 3 days, what happened. And so as a leader, you practically have to be on your toes, have your dashboard, things to make you monitor the impact of your meetings and decision and its implementation. If you are not able to do that, it will be a continuous role, meetings and non-meetings. So, but that's a lot of hard work, I must say.
Yes. Amazing. Please a round of applause for her. So uneasy is the head that wears the crown. What has happened? What has been your most challenging experience in HR leadership? And how did you navigate it? I want a real life experience.
So there have been quite a number. Like the one that readily comes to my mind, I would say maybe I will start from where she stopped, where you take decisions in a room. HR sits at the table, so we're always there as HR. And then you see you are there, these decisions are taken. The funny part will be that everybody said yes and agreed. I'm talking about leaders now.
Okay.
And then they all go to their different offices and they begin to interpret differently. Does anyone, does it resonate?
Yeah. Yes.
They begin to interpret differently. So this person goes to his department and interprets it this way. Another person goes to his own department and decides to say, you know what, you guys, this is what they said. However, you guys are my guys. So, but if you do it this way and all of that. So HR is in the middle. So this was, I would give you an example of when I was the manager HR of one of our subsidiaries. And that subsidiary happened to have been the largest subsidiary in numbers. And so a decision was taken. I think somebody here had mentioned earlier, a decision was taken to what we call right size.
Okay.
You know you can. You say downsize, you are the one that said downsize, you right size. So, but you know, when decisions are taken like that and it begins to filter, it gets disjointed. People carry rumors and all of that. So it becomes a big challenge for the HR persons to implement. And you now want to, you have these stakeholders, the people that you were in the room with when the decision was taken. And you'll be surprised that by the time you're approaching them, their body language and their responses are not exactly what you had expected. So are you going to call another meeting? You're not going to call another meeting. You're going to do what you're supposed to do as HR. So HR has several caps to wear. The employees are looking up to you. The leaders are looking up to you. So you are caught in between, but you have to do what you need to do. So that particular incident, what happened was a big thing. It had to happen. That company was the focus and the right sizing was done. Those who you would have thought would cooperate and support did not. And those who were affected, of course, we have very strong union. So the union came, we had sessions, they saw reason. At the end of the day, it was implemented, but it was implemented on the note that everybody understood was a win-win situation. There's no way NMPC would ever tell you to go without giving your benefits, no matter what happens.
Okay.
So there was an understanding. And the takeaway was also negotiated. So at the end of the day, it would have led to something serious, but it didn't. Because at the end of the day, there was mutual understanding. But what I'm trying to say is that as HR, sometimes you become like an orphan. You become like an orphan because I had a boss who was the director at that time, who wasn't an HR person.
Okay.
My boss was an accountant. So everything HR was like theory. Everything HR was like, oh, Why must we do it this way? At the end of the day, when they don't go the way you tell them to do, they come back to you. It's already a mess, but you now have to go and clean it up. So that's our story as HR. So that's a typical example of what happened.
So HR cleans up the mess.
To do.
HR professionals with global HR certifications earn between $51,000 to $127,000 annually, and employers often prioritize them more than their uncertified counterparts. Either you are a HR beginner with zero HR experience or a HR leader with over 20 years experience in HR, we have a certification for you. Join thousands of HR professionals getting globally certified today. To pass your global HR exam in 6 weeks, call us today.
Certification Edge, building cross-border capabilities.
How do we ensure, because it has been a recurrent thing in the conversations we've been having, that things end up getting messy, even though HR initially brought a solution, right? And at the end of the day, we now have to come back to that same solution. The other one, there was already a mess of the organization's reputation. Earlier, we heard of that. And it keeps reoccurring. So this has been, so how do we ensure that we don't get to that position whereby there's a mess and we now have to fix the mess and then still make that change that should have been made in the first place?
I'm not a HR expert. I'm an accidental HR. So, but if I take the case of Moisola, mom, is there really much you can do beyond interpreting, advising the management on what you think is best? And if the top management decides, we're not going to listen to you like they did in her old case, till it got messed up, and then they came back to her, there's not much you can do. You can advise, except the top management are HR experts.
Yeah.
They may not see what you're seeing. They may not see what you're seeing. So it doesn't mean that you have failed as an HR expert. You just keep your peace, because you definitely know that they're going to come back to you. They're going to come back to you. It's either they do that to have a peaceful resolution, or they want to face the mess, make it more messier, and then they withdraw and push you out there to get it done. So I don't think there's much you can do. You can only advise and hope that they buy into it. You can try to convince them, but this is an individual thing. Be it private business, be it public service. I can say something to my minister and he says, Pamsec, I've heard you, but it's not going to happen. That's the end of the story. You can't go into any fights. You're just going to keep quiet and pray and hope that he comes back later to say, oh, what did you say again? And then you can now come in to play that role.
Okay. So I'll give you a question now that I believe is yours, since that last one wasn't yours. How critical is stakeholders management, especially when stakeholders are not aligned? That's the question I need to ask you, because there are times, like we've been talking about this alignment, and I believe that there should be ways around it. We cannot always wait for things to get messy. There should be a way, so not everything would get approved, but there should be steps that can be taken to manage the stakeholders in these various situations.
You see, one thing that is constant is change. And when you want to make a change, you should expect resistance. You should expect that everybody is not going to go with you. So it's very important that you plan your change management. So that's change management will be speaking to your stakeholders' engagement. Be them internal stakeholders and external stakeholders. I will share an experience. Yesterday or so, I think on Thursday, I was in Lagos. We oversee immigration services, Nigerian immigration services. So a lot of things have happened in the last 1 year. We have had to digitize virtually all our services. Digitizing it for efficiency, digitizing it to block leakages of funds and swallow up whatever government is supposed to get. But there are people who were benefiting from the old system. And so to do that, we had to do a lot of stakeholders management within the service, within the ministry, and our clients. And in the conversations, you explain to people why you want to do what you want to do, the details of what you want to do, the benefits, and all that. And then you also need to manage the people who were profiteering from this process that you're trying to change. At the end of the day, it's usually a win-win situation that you want to achieve. So we introduced the e-visa, which replaced the visa on arrival.
Okay.
So previously, we come into the country, apply for visa on arrival, pay on the spot and all that. But that takes a bit of time. But now you can go online wherever you are, apply for the service, pay for it. Within 24, 48 hours, your visa is approved and is sent to you as an email. And you come in with an e-visa. So people realize that this is a lot easier. I don't have to know the minister. I don't have to know the CG. And eventually they embraced it. And I must tell you that in accepting that service, Nigeria also gained a lot because beyond the figures in terms of money, we have our clear data of who is coming into the country and who is exiting. So we now speak to embassies with clear metrics of what is going on about movements into and out of the country. The e-gate some of you would have seen in Lagos and Abuja very soon in the next month, Kano and Port Harcourt would come on, are things that were agreed to in 2008. But we only achieved it 17 years after.
Wow.
Because somebody chose to look at the agreement and say, oh, this is meant to be part of this process. Why haven't we achieved this? Why did we take 17 years? Now I need this to happen in 6 months. And I don't care how you're going to get it done. It's going to be done. And I'm sitting with you every month to evaluate where you are. And at no cost to federal government of Nigeria. You think that was achieved by just giving directives? No. You talk to the people within and without. And as you keep having these conversations, you also allay their fears. You allay their fears because that is something that is very critical, particularly for those who are benefiting from the old system. This is going to happen. This is what is going to happen to you. You are not going to be removed from business and all that. And the people enjoy that efficient service that you are providing. And people feel, I feel so happy when I'm coming in and somebody say, oh, is this Nigeria? Where are we? Oh, wow. And they are doing that 20 seconds to 40 seconds they've gone through. No immigration officer is greeting you. Welcome. Where should you bring up? And all that. Because that doesn't speak well of us as a country. Right? But even the officers here are realizing that this is not what you should be found to be doing, because if you do, you face the consequences. We don't have to announce, but people have lost their jobs from such kind of things. They have their body cameras, they are being monitored. And this also involved telling the airlines, this is where we're going. We've got to move in one direction. Okay? This talking about public service to the people. Let me shock you. Does anybody believe that any ministry here works paperless in Nigeria? If you believe that there is one ministry that you know that works 100% paperless, please raise your hand. Okay, so they don't believe that we can work paperless. 100%. Okay, so if you want service now in Ministry of Interior, nobody is going to collect paper from you.
It's a round of applause.
It's not starting. They started since 1st of September.
Oh, wow.
In 2023, 1st of March, Ministry of Transportation started working 100% paperless. And I know where we started. Somebody said, it's like you're always dreaming. It's not a dream. There is a whole Federal Civil Service Strategic Implementation Plan that has been running since 2017. And one of the presidential mandates is that all the ministries should be 100% paperless December 31st, 2025. So we had 8 years to achieve that. And incidentally, I was the first driver of that project.
A round of applause.
And so there was no way I will go to any ministry and not focus on that. So 1st of March 2023, Ministry of Transportation went paperless. And that was the period when the fuel price went up. So it was easy for me to manage my staff in terms of transportation. So you could choose the days you work in person and the days you work virtually. Was it an easy project for people who have been used to carrying files and files suddenly disappearing? And you need to do something before that file will resurface?
Yes.
How did we achieve that? Stakeholders, alignment and engagement, change management. To the point that when I left the ministry and my successor wanted files, physical files, the staff stood up and said, you cannot take us back to Egypt. They stood up. He called me and said, what did you do? I said, what? I said, they took ownership of the project. We had a project implementation committee and they were staff of the ministry. Thanks to Chizoba, Sheung, and Usenekong, they are my consultants. They've worked with me over the years. They are HR experts.
A round of applause.
They are your members.
Yeah.
But they supported us to achieve that. The same thing in Ministry of Interior. When I resumed in 2024 August, I told my minister, I said, in 6 months, we will work paperless. My minister, if all of you know Bumi Tunji Ojo, he's an ICT person. Okay? And he looked at me and said, the day you achieve that, my problem would have ended. We didn't achieve it in 6 months. We achieved it in a year. Because the crop of civil servants we met there, I call them evil servants. Not evil servants in that sense, but they were just so stuck to their old ways and they were not ready to change. So the change management took a bit. Imagine a situation where I say we go paperless. My secretary, my own secretary, and the secretary of the minister march into my office and say, Madam, this thing you are doing is good though, but you just want to take away our job so that they can retire us. And I'm like, what is your job? Say, carrying file. I say, how is that your job? You are my personal secretary. Personal secretary to me. You have to manage me. That's your job. That you used to bring the physical file into my office. It's not your job. It's the job of the registry. So now, technology is bringing the file to me. What you should ask me is that you want to have a view so that if there are urgent jobs that requires my attention, you flag it to me. I'm like, And I'm like, yes, so. They were part of the change management. But they were not ready to accept that.
The change.
Okay? To the point that, having understood it, they could now focus on their own job. Right? And when we got to Interior, my secretary was now the change champion, teaching other secretaries and registry officers what to do.
Amazing.
It's tough, but you focus on it, you will get it done. and your stakeholders will be grateful for it.
There's one question everyone who wants to write the project management certification must answer. Am I even eligible? Here's what most people don't know. Whether you have a 4-year degree or not, or you've never formally worked as a project manager, there is a project management certification by PMI for you. But eligibility is not guesswork. If you have a 4-year degree, you need about 3 years of leading projects. And if you don't, you need closer to 5 years of project leadership experience. And that's before the required training hours. So, what's the next step? That's where guidance matters. And who better to guide you than the #1 authorized training partner in Nigeria? Certification Edge. Don't guess your eligibility. Call us now and let's map your path to certification.
Certification Edge, building cross-border capabilities.
Amazing. Okay, now my next question is going to go to both of you, ma'am. But Ma'am Falasha, I will start with you. How do you balance the demands of leadership with family responsibilities?
It's not been easy. It's something that comes, and I won't say it's a one-off. It's something that comes in different ways and you handle it the way it comes. Balancing home and family and balancing family and work. You just need to do that to be able to, like you told us here, to be able to, have your mental health. And apart from having your mental health, these are 2 important things in your life. You chose to work.
Yes.
You have a family. So if you are in that dilemma, you must be able to balance. One shouldn't suffer.
Yes.
There are times that you give the job priority. I'll tell you that. There are times you give home priority. Both have their place. There are times when you would let the family know that during this period, it's going to be tough. I'm going to be closing late. But it's for a period of time. And during that period of time, you need a support system. So to be able to survive properly as a family person, you must have support system. Support system come in different ways. Apart from your colleagues, your spouse, the children themselves can show understanding. Your domestic staff.
Sure.
I was telling a younger staff, within 2 years, she had changed like about 3 going to 4 domestic staff. So I told her, she's my protege. I told her that you need to learn to manage this domestic staff. They're difficult. They come in different types. But if you have decided to have one, you need to be able to manage so that you can focus at some point at work. Like me, sometimes what I do, whenever I find myself any boss, I let them know that I like to stagger my leave. Why do I stagger my leave? When my children were big enough to be in secondary school, they were in boarding schools. So half term, I like to have 1 week from my leave.
Okay.
Holiday, I like to have some weeks from that holiday to be with them. But that's not to say that you have it all the time. Depends on the boss that you have.
Sure.
But you must be able to balance the 2. Your job should not suffer. It's somehow for you to say, so ladies now, if you keep coming to a male boss, even if it's a female boss, especially female bosses, we don't get along very well,
True.
But we do sometimes. But if you keep coming and your excuse is, today is the home, tomorrow is domestic matter, you won't blame whoever feels that, you know what, let's move on. She can be on one side. Oh, are you available today? Then you do the job. So you just have to have some form of discipline. And then again, you cannot afford your family to suffer. At the end of the day, you need a family.
Sure.
So you must be able to strike a balance. And that balance is something that you do from time to time. There are times on my job that I've had to close at 12 midnight, 1 a.m. When we transited from NNPC Corporation to NNPC Limited. I was working directly with the GCU, the chief executive at that time. And we had deadlines. We had a lot to do. My family understood that period. And for that period, I was not available. But immediately after that, I said, you guys, I am here. all that we need to catch up about, we will catch up. At the same time, your job shouldn't suffer. There's sometimes that the job will ask more from you. I always tell people, the moments that you choose to do that job, you choose to sacrifice. When you are tired or you are thinking the job is making too much demands on you, you can honorably just exit. At the same time, your family is very important. Some people, I tell my colleagues, when I was younger, when I was raising children, I'm like, your mother-in-law can be your support system.
True.
Sometimes we just feel that, oh, you know what? This person's trouble is plenty. Manage the trouble. That person being available will give you more time for your job. But when you have the time for family, by all means, do family time. Like during Easter, I asked for family time. I asked for part of my leave. I had full-time family time. And immediately after that, I told them, okay, we're back to work. Like here now, I had a call, but I now said, I'm in a forum. So in the night, we can talk. So that is, and then as you grow in your career, it becomes, I think, a bit more challenging at the middle age. And then by the time you get to a level like this, the children are grown, they're adults themselves, you have a bit more time to yourself. But for the ones that are coming, the younger ones, it is time to manage the two. One shouldn't suffer.
Do you all hear? And I hear communication and support system, right? And your mother-in-law can be your support system. Somebody say hallelujah. So please, your mother-in-law can be your support system. Your nannies, those nannies that you feel like strangling sometimes, I tell you, they can be your support system. So we need to learn to manage all the people that we have in our lives. So ma'am, it's your turn.
She has said it all. For the younger people, we must have strong support system and effective communication with your spouse, with your children, and your family members. And of course, when you get to this stage where you are home alone, you deal with your spouse in terms of communication. It's either they sacrifice you to Nigeria or you sacrifice them to Nigeria. But the truth about it is that you need your job and you also need your family. So that balance is something you must strike. And at this level, you must also learn to delegate jobs. You must learn, as a younger officer, you may not be able to delegate. You are being delegated to. But as you grow higher, you build a team that you can delegate jobs to. And then you make your job a bit flexible. There are so many times I sit at home in the morning to work. And while I'm working, I'm attending to my family if I need to attend to them. And whatever needs, any meeting, people can go and sit in that meeting for me and I read the report. So you must have a very healthy balance between your work and your family. You look at flexibility of your work environment and learn to delegate work choice to people. Nannies, I never had house girl. I raised my children with nannies. You will tolerate them.
Yeah.
Don't go measuring the beans and the rice and everything. That's the sacrifice. They will steal from you. So there are certain things you will just choose to close your eyes to. Pay them well. Give them incentives. I had 2 nannies and I raised 4 children with 2 nannies.
Wow.
So the truth about it is that pay them well. Close your eyes to certain things. Don't measure the food they are going to eat. Let them have a free hand. So how much will they eat? That's a sacrifice. And then when the children are out, you are dealing with yourself and your spouse. And I'm sure your spouse has had a career. They will support you to have a career. Thank you very much.
Amazing. The job doesn't have to be the sacrifice. Your home doesn't have to be the sacrifice. So we need to learn to balance it all. And I've heard communication, communicating at work, communicating with the children, helping them understand that this season, mama will not be available. Also, I've heard delegation as well. Delegate, support system. Thank you so much, ma'am, for this amazing session. And till the next conference.
Certification Edge, building cross-border capabilities.